if I'm a non-EU citizen, but I'm traveling with my spouse who is a French or an EU citizen, does the 90-day rule apply to me?
Yes, absolutely. So that's also something that it's good to clarify, and thank you for that question. A lot of people think that just because we are married to a European or a French spouse, it actually grants us exactly the same rights as what our spouse would have. Unfortunately not, because as long as somebody is holding a non-European passport, the 90 days applied to them as well. So they need to keep that rule.
Okay, and so if I did want to travel for more than 90 days with my spouse who's an EU citizen, does that mean I still need to apply for a visa then?
Well, we need to make a difference between if you are married to a European or if you are married to a French citizen. So if you are married to a European citizen, then basically the general rule is that you can come with the 90-day option. Within that 90-day, once you have arrived to France, you will need to apply at the local authorities, which is called préfecture, for your EU spouse residency permit. If you are, however, married to a French citizen, unfortunately, first thing is that you will have to apply for the right type of visa. And then with the visa, you come to France, and then you will be able to change it into a residency permit and stay longer. The reason why I'm using the word residency permit, if I can add it in here, it's simply because a lot of time people think that I come with a visa, and then here in France, I just renew my visa. Here in France, we don't renew visas. When you have the right type of permit, for example, so you are an EU spouse or a French spouse, then it's the residency permit that is going to be applicable to you later on.
Right, okay, and that residency permit is the carte de séjour, as it's called in French.
There is two names to it. One is titre de séjour and the other one is carte de séjour. Basically, the main difference is that one is temporary, so it means that renewable every single year until you reach 5 years. And then once you have reached 5 years of being here in France, then you go for the permanent residency permit, and then you get the carte de séjour.
Okay, that makes sense. And so what about if, I'm going to pick your brains on this whilst I have you, because I do get so many questions on these. What about if somebody wants to travel with their EU spouse, but they just want to come on a temporary visa, for example, they want to come for 6 months. Do they need a visa for that as well?
Yeah, so if they really only planning to stay for 6 months, then it would be good to come with a visa, because if you're a EU spouse, you only have that 90-day window of opportunity to stay in France without any further allowances. So then, yes, the 6 months long visa would be definitely a good option to go for.
Okay, and I did notice when you do, we'll talk about the application process later, but when you do apply for it, you can select if you're traveling with an EU spouse or something like that.
Absolutely. In the application form, there are different categories. It can be a little bit confusing, so that's why sometimes a handholder company like ours can be quite handy, actually. But yes, you can select the right category. There, it gives you a roll down list, and you will be able to select the right one.
And do you know, is it a different price for an EU spouse, or is it free? I've heard that some of the visas are free. Is that correct?
So visas are in general not free, even not for children. The visa, and doesn't matter if it's from the US or from the UK, the equivalent price is basically 99 euro for the visa. And that's always something that you pay as per person at the visa center once you are at the interview. So the visas are general, unfortunately, not free.
Okay, even for an EU, for like
even so. The only thing which can be free, for example, if you're an EU spouse or a French spouse and you come to France and you apply for the residency permit after the 90 days of being here, then the residency permit is something that can be free. But the visa itself, it's still 99 euro for everyone.
Right, okay, I was not aware of that. So thank you for clarifying. Okay, what about family members family members of an EU, for example, I had somebody write in saying they wanted to join their son in France or their parents in France. Is this a possibility?
Well, in certain conditions, yes, there is a possibility of a family reunification. But usually how it goes is that you really have to have a good reason. So just because, for example, my son is living in France, it's not always going that way. However, if the parents are living in France and the child would like to join, that's a different scenario. What often we get, actually, because that's something, it's a quite common scenario, is that, for example, the child comes to study here in France, and because they get accepted and they are minor, that in that case, yes, the family reunification absolutely can work, as you will need to accompany your minor child, obviously, here in France.